Okay. Students, today we will have one story, namely My Greatest Olympic Prize by Jesse Owens. And I hope that you will be having a text with you. All of you get ready with the text. Jesse Owens was an athlete, US athlete, and he was the grandson of a slave. Of course, I think we have discussed in the class regarding slavery in the world and especially USA. And it was Abraham Lincoln in the century, that means 19th century, that he abolished slavery in USA. There was a cultural or historical background for slaves in USA. You might have studied in your history classes that the American whites who migrated from England to USA brought so many slaves from Africa, blacks, in order to work in their plantations. And the descendants were also slaves, and it was Abraham Lincoln in the year 19th century who adamantly stopped this practice, even though there was much revolt against it. And our Jesse Owens, who lived in the 20th century, who was the grandson of a slave, and here he gives us an actual experience while he was taking part in the Berlin Olympics in the year 1936. At that time, Hitler was ruling in Germany. And Hitler had a theory that the Germans were of a superior race, especially against the blacks and the Asian people, etc. and etc. At that time, the grandson of a slave, Jesse Owens, for the first time took part in the German Olympics. And of course, he won 4 gold medals in that Olympics, even though no one of the black race has scored 4 Olympic medals till then. But he gives us his experience, how he qualified in the long jump event with the help of a German called Lars Long, German athlete called Lars Long, without whom he would not have even qualified for the long jump event. So he says it is the greatest Olympic prize for him because he could overthrow, defeat the Hitler's fascist or Nazist. We say in Italy it is fascist, in Germany we say Nazist, thinking of German superiority over the blacks and other world communities. That too with the help of a German called Lars Long. And I told you it is a true story. And after this event, Jesse Owens and Lars Long became lifelong friends till Lars Long died during the Second World War, that means 1939 to 45. Almost a few years after this incident in the year 1936. Lars Long might have joined the army, he might have killed in the war action. Till then, they were very good friends. Such an incident, actual incident, that Jesse Owens describes us. Not only that he got prize in the long jump and but also he got 3 more gold medals. I told you earlier that it was for the first time a black getting 4 gold medals in an Olympic competition. Okay, let us go through the details of the story. My Greatest Olympic Prize by Jesse Owens. It was the summer of 1936. The Olympic Games were being held in Berlin. Because Hitler childishly insisted that his performers were members of a master race, nationalistic feelings were at an all-time high. What meanings? It was the summer of 1936. The Olympic Games were being held in Berlin, capital of Germany. That too important. The competitions were held in Germany, the capital city called Berlin itself. Because Hitler childishly insisted, compelled. Childishly meaning not in a reasonable manner. Insisted that his performance, that means his athletes, were members of a master race. As I told you earlier in the introduction, Hitler was thinking that the Germans were of Aryan race and they were of superior people than all other people in the world. He had a childish or foolish or unreasonable thinking of that size or that matter. Nationalistic feelings were at an all-time high. I will explain the sentences. It was the summer of 1936, very plain. Olympics were held. The Olympic Games were held in Berlin, of course the capital of Germany. At that time, it was the reason Hitler childishly insisted. Hitler had a foolish insistence on something. What is that? That his performers were members of a master race. His athletes were coming from, that means Germans were of a superior race called Aryan supremacy theory. You might have studied in your history classes. Because of that, nationalist feelings were at an all-time high. Since Hitler was insisting that all the other nations were having the mentality of their own nations in a high manner. I wasn't too worried about all this. I had trained, sweated and disciplined myself for 6 years with the games in mind. While I was going over on the boat, all I could think about was taking home 1 or 2 of those gold medals. I had my eye especially on the running broad jump. A year before, as a sophomore at Ohio State University, I had set the world's record of 26 feet 8 and 1/4 inches. Everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic event hands down. Word meanings. I wasn't too worried about all these. Jesse Owens says that I was not too worried, very worried about all these things, because he was somewhat confident. I had trained, sweated, of course you know the word meaning, worked hard and disciplined myself, studied all the rules and regulations for 6 years with the games in mind. He was aiming at a medal and he trained very much. He was trained very much. While I was going over on the boat, and Jesse Owens, while he was going from USA to Germany, here boat meaning ship, all I could think about was, only one thought was in his mind, was taking home 1 or 2 of those gold medals. He was thinking of or expecting only 1 or 2 gold medals. I had my eye especially on the running broad jump. Had one's eye, that means much thought about, much thinking about running broad jump. That means long jump event he was having much expectation. A year before, as a sophomore, as a sophomore at Ohio State University. Sophomore meaning somewhat like a student in the school, maybe plus 2 student in the school, and it was called the university itself. Ohio is a state in USA. I had set the world's record of 26 feet 8 and 1 by 4 inches. He had the confidence because a year before, while he was studying in the Ohio State University, maybe plus 2 or something, pre-degree like that, just before the degree classes, I had set the world record of 26 feet 8 and 1 by 4 inches. Anyway, he had set a record in that university competition of 26 feet and 8 and 1 by 4 inches long jump. Everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic event hands down, meaning easy manner. Hands down, that is another phrase or idiom. Easy manner. Kayyum Ishi ennu nammal Malayalathathil parayum. All the people expected that I am going to win that event very easily. I was in for a purpose, surprise. When the time came for the broad jump trials, I was startled to see a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice laps. What meanings? Broad jump events meaning long jump events. Trials, not actually event, but a trial before that, qualifying round. I was startled, you know the word meaning? Shocked to see a tall boy hitting the pit at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps, jumps. Hitting the pit meaning having the jump mark. Line meaning when he came for the long jump trials, he saw a tall boy having the 26 feet trial jump, and he was shocked to see that. He turned out to be a German named Lars Long. He was a German athlete called Lars Long. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps, evidently hoping to win the jump with him. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps. Under wraps meaning secretly, evidently, clearly, hoping to win the jump with him. Later, I was told, somebody told me, passive voice, that Hitler kept his name secretly, and Hitler was very clearly hoping to win the long jump event. I guessed that if Long won, it would add some new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. Any word meanings? No. I told you regarding Aryan superiority theory. Nazis meaning Hitler's Germany. That was the theory they were thinking, foolishly believing. So, I guessed, Jesse Owens thought that if Lars Long wins in that event too, it would add some new support to Hitler's Nazi Aryan superiority theory. That means that would endorse, make it correct that Nazi's Aryan superiority theory is correct. That was his feeling. It was told that there was a nationalistic feeling at that time very much. After all, I am a Negro. Moreover, he had an inferiority complex that he was a Negro descendant. Negro meaning American slave descendant or black descendant. A little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways, I determined to go out there and really show their fur and his master race who was superior and who wasn't. Any word meanings? A little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways. Hot under the collar meaning feeling very angry at. are determined, you know the word meaning, decided to go out there and really show their Führer. That means that leader, aiming Hitler and his master race, that means that his foolish Aryan superiority race theory, who was superior and who wasn't. Jesse Owens wanted to show Hitler that Hitler was not superior and we are superior. That was in his mind, especially in the event of long jump. At that time, he unexpectedly saw Laszlo, a German athlete, qualifying in the long jump event with his 26 feet jump. But we are going to see that Jesse Owens was not being qualified for 2 jumps. There are 3 qualifying jumps. That was the situation. Let us see. An angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes, as any coach will tell you. And Jesse Owens tells that an athlete should not be having any angry or ill feeling towards others. His mind should be free of any such feelings. If we have such feelings, an athlete had such feelings or have such feelings, he is going to make mistake. I was no exception. And Jesse Owens also had or was not having any exception. That means he also made a mistake. On the first of my 3 qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond the takeoff board for a foul. What happened? Any word meanings? Beyond the takeoff board for a foul. That means there is a line from behind which he is supposed to or he was supposed to jump. But actually he crossed that line and jumped. That was a foul. On the second jump, I fouled even worse. You know the word meaning worse? Bad, worse, more bad. Second qualifying jump also was worse than the first one. Did I come 300 miles for this? I thought bitterly, angrily. He thought, is it for making 2 fouls that I have come 300 miles away from USA to Germany? Germany is a European country, USA is another continent. That too, journey was at that time was very difficult because there were no airplanes. That is only 20th century business. This is in the 19th century. So they had to come by ship. To fall out of the trials and make a fool of myself. He thought himself, am I a fool to make fouls and be foolish? Walking a few yards from the pit, I kicked disgustedly at the dirt. When the second one also was fouled. Walking a few yards, you know the word meaning half meter, from that pit, I kicked disgustedly in an angry manner or a sad manner at the dirt. He simply kicked his shoes on the dirt or mud itself. നമ്മൾ പറയും ദേഷ്യം കൊണ്ട് നിലത്ത് ചവിട്ടി. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. That time, somebody came on his back and caught him on his shoulder. I turned to look into the friendly blue eyes of the tall German broad jumper. When he turned, he saw the blue eyes of the tall German long jumper. For Europeans have blue eyes, you know. He saw it was that German athlete, Laszlo. He had easily qualified for the finals on his first attempt itself. That fellow was very confident, being qualified for the first jump itself. He offered me a firm handshake. That Laszlo, give me handshake. Then he said, Jesse Owens, I am Laszlo. He told Jesse Owens, I am Laszlo. He addressed Jesse Owens and told that my name is Laszlo. I don't think we have met. Again he told that we are meeting for the first time. At that time you must think that there was no WhatsApp, TV or any means to meet each other. And it was told that Hitler kept him under wraps. Nobody knew about him. He spoke English well, though with the German twist to it. Laszlo spoke English, even though he was a German, with a German twist. We used to say German slang, accent, etc. So it was easy for our Jesse Owens to understand his language. Glad to meet you, I said. Of course, glad to meet you, Owens said. Then, trying to hide my nervousness, I added, how are you? Of course, Jesse Owens was a little nervous. Even then he hid that feeling and asked him, how are you? As a friendly gesture. I am fine. The question is, how are you? At that time, the wise German asked Jesse Owens, I am fine. How are you? Thinking that Jesse Owens might be in a sad or in a disturbed feeling, having disturbed feeling. What do you mean? I asked. Even though Jesse Owens understood, he asked him, what do you mean by that question? Something must be eating you, he said. Laszlo told, something must be eating you, meaning, something must be eating you, meaning, you are worried about something. That is the idiomatic meaning of that idiom. Then explanation is given by that fellow, Laszlo. Proud the way foreigners are when they have mastered a bit of American slang. Of course, Laszlo was in a proud manner. And Jesse Owens told that it is the custom of foreigners. That means foreigners from USA, not English citizens. Other foreigners are when they have mastered a bit of American slang, meaning American language. That means when the other European countries or people like Germany, France, Italy, Spain, etc., when they master English, they have a little feeling of being proud. In that manner, this Laszlo asked, you have some disturbing feelings in you, Jesse Owens. He told in such a proud manner, you should be able to qualify with your eyes closed. Then the Laszlo suggested or praised Jesse Owens that you are able to qualify, even your eyes closed, you will be qualified. That was a comment by Laszlo. So confident Laszlo was about Jesse Owens, because Jesse Owens in the qualifying not in the qualifying but in the university jump, Laszlo might have heard that he had jumped 26 feet 8 and 1/4 inches, almost 3/4 foot more than Laszlo. So Laszlo commented like this, believe me, I know it, I told him. At that time Laszlo told, till now, Jesse Owens told, till now Jesse Owens was having some animosity towards Laszlo, but now he understood that Laszlo was having a good intention in coming to him. So he told him, believe me, I know it. Jesse Owens told that, I know that I have the ability to qualify the qualifying jump. Explanation is given, dash is put. And it felt good to say that to someone. Anyway, Jesse Owens told that I have that proud feeling to tell that to someone also. I am so confident.